Mel Owens stunned fans when a moment that was supposed to be romantic suddenly turned into one of the most uncomfortable confrontations of the entire season. Just days before the final rose, he admitted he didn't see himself getting engaged for at least 2 years, a confession that instantly changed everything. Cindy, who believed they were building something real, felt the floor drop from under her. She'd invested weeks of emotions, conversations, and trust only to find out at the last minute that the man she thought she might end up with wasn't ready for the commitment she'd been promised from day one. When she confronted him, her disappointment was clear. She told him she wasn't just upset for herself, but for every woman who had been led to believe he was ready for a long-term future. She wanted to understand when he realized he wasn't prepared to move forward and why he waited until the very end to say it out loud. Mel pushed back, insisting he was ready in his own way, but his heart and mind simply hadn't aligned yet. He claimed they just needed more time and that the fantasy suite would have been the perfect place to talk privately without cameras or pressure. To him, that conversation could have changed everything. But Cindy didn't buy it. She said she couldn't walk into an overnight date without knowing where she stood or what he wanted. She'd tried to get him to open up, but every time she asked, he dodged the real answers. And that silence made her feel like she was walking toward a future he never intended to build. Things escalated when Mel told her she wanted a commitment before the journey was even finished. He reminded her of the old saying, "First comes love, then comes marriage," explaining that he doesn't rush into major decisions, and he doesn't take big leaps of faith without time. Cindy pushed back harder than ever. She said she wasn't asking him to get married at the finale. She just wanted a clear path forward, something real to build on once the cameras were gone. Rumors online suggest many fans had the same reaction she did, wondering why Mel waited until the final stretch to be honest about his timeline. Cindy also questioned whether he was ready for a commitment with anyone, not just her, pointing out that his hesitation didn't seem tied to the person in front of him, but to the entire idea of settling down again. Mel insisted she was misunderstanding him. He said his feelings for her were genuine, but the pace she wanted didn't align with how he lives his life. He repeated that the fantasy suite was the moment they needed and that she walked away before they had the chance to clear the confusion. But Cindy stood firm. She told him she left because her concerns weren't being heard and because she wasn't going to gamble her future on someone who couldn't say what he wanted until the very last minute. Her final words were the ones that hit the hardest. She told him she loved him enough to want him to be happy, even if that happiness didn't include her. And as she walked away, viewers were left with a question that still hasn't died down. Was Mel genuinely misunderstood, or was he keeping his intentions vague until the very end, hoping everything would somehow fall into place? Either way, it was the kind of moment that left fans talking long after the camera stopped rolling.